All right. 3, 2, 1. We're live. Connor, what's up, man?
Hey, how we doing, Teo?
Good. I like your beanie. You said what's on top there?
I don't know, got a little puffball on top. I don't
Little
know.
puffball on top. Your Rams put me to shame. I was on the New England hype train -5. You proved me wrong. Your Rams proved me wrong.
Yeah, I just didn't see in that way, and it's obviously how it played out, but I didn't see how the Patriots were going to score any points. They don't have anybody good. I mean, Cam can't throw the ball. He got benched. It's again, all these things. It sounds like I'm just saying this like I'm sounding smart because it ended up happening, but Cam can't throw the ball. They don't have any good receivers, and so the Rams were just going to load the box to stop the run. And that's exactly what happened. And so there
And then
was
Belichick said Cam's their quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, I think you kind of got to keep going with that. If I was the Pats, though, I'm going to try to evaluate Stidham and see if he can be good. They keep thinking he can be, and so if he can win a couple games down the stretch, maybe you think, all right, that's the guy. They also might be just trying to be bad to get a good pick. I don't know, but Rams defense is, the Rams defense is so good, and I think that is going to make them really scary for the rest of the season. And if their offense, especially now with the way Cam Akers ran the ball yesterday and how he's played the last few weeks, they can keep doing that. They are not even exaggerating, a legit Super Bowl contender.
They are, absolutely. They're a legit Super Bowl contender. But hey, we should tell people this is Spitting Fire. We didn't introduce. This is Spitting Fire. Welcome in, everyone. We're glad to have you here. If you saw a bunch of emojis as a podcast cover and you just click the button, press play, this is Spitting Fire. And let's do our sponsorship. R&R. Connor's taking a sip right now.
Oh, yeah. R&R Brewing. Love their beer. Apparently, we found out there's another R&R, but we are not repping that one. We're talking about the Bay Area-based Northern California R&R Brewing. Love their beer. Love their gear. Drinking it right now. So go out and get yours today.
Where can people find it?
You got to ask me. I'll find it for you.
You can only slide into Connor's DMs. Connor, you want to give out your public email?
We'll put my public email. Yeah, it's just my first and last name. Go for it.
ConnorIberg@gmail.com. Get him.
Yep.
That's our marketing right now.
There you go.
So listen, the Patriots, I was so biased. You know, I had to go against you. I wanted to see that. I think the league's more interesting. I'm a Steelers fan. The league's more interesting when the Patriots are in the running to make the playoffs.
I mean, they're an easy team to hate, but I think it's also nice that we have a little bit of a break. We've had 20 straight years of them being good. They haven't won single digit games since 2002. So I just, I think it's interesting because the Rams have kind of now bookended the Patriots dynasty. They accounted for their first and their last Super Bowl. I mean, again, we can assume their last Super Bowl. Rams really, I mean, there's a bunch of articles came out, but kind of that loss is what now killed the Patriots. They're not going to make the playoffs now, and they're just not a good team, right? I think the last time they missed the playoffs, they were still 11-5, the Matt Castle year in 2008. So, I mean, that doesn't even count, right? And so, this Patriots team's not very good. Belichick's done a great job coaching them, but, it hurts. But yeah, I mean, I'm more impressed. It's funny. All the articles right now are talking about how, bad the Patriots are and how they're done. No one's giving the Rams credit for just going in there and steamrolling them. They stopped them 3 times on the goal line and then held them to a field goal the 4th time. I mean, that's an incredible defense. They had 6 sacks. Aaron Donald lived in the backfield. They pressured on 55% of Cam's back dropbacks. I mean, they are a complete team right now. And the only thing I've said it time and time again, the only thing that concerns me is their linebackers and pass coverage, and Kenny Young had a pick 6 in this game. So, they're a great team. They've scored a defensive touchdown in 3 straight games. So, really rounding into form come playoff time now.
Yeah. And what do you think of Jared Goff? 16-25, 137 yards, TD interception. You could go both ways on this, right? You could say, hey, the game script was we got the early pick 6. The Patriots were playing from behind. They couldn't run the ball. I mean, they got down to the end zone, but the game script wasn't good for the Patriots in what they wanted to do. And then the Rams got to basically do what the Patriots would do and run the football, let the young rookie move in Cam Akers.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing that's concerning with the Rams right now, and it's, the loss of Brandon Cooks is the reason they're not able to manufacture deep shots anymore. I don't think Goff's thrown the ball past like 20 yards the past 3 weeks. He definitely doesn't have a long completion. So that's definitely concerning because teams are now going to start playing closer and closer to the line. I think part of that is McVay putting Goff in good situations to get the ball out of his hands quick and not have to, make all these crazy plays.
He showed some trust in him on that roll, though. That was tight when he made that roll to Cooper Kupp.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, that's where you see that, and that's Goff at his best, right? Rolling out, throwing it. He has good footwork that way, but sometimes when he just has straight dropbacks, it's not great. I mean, I think the pick and his one interception was a horrible throw, and he deserves credit for it. but I don't think it should have been an interception. I think that was just kind of a fluky play. That was a great play by the defensive back, but that still was a horrible low and behind Robert Woods, right? And so, you almost look at that and think if there's any other receiver in the league, the guy just drops the ball straight away, but Woods is so good. He actually was able to catch the ball and then just get it ripped from him. So, Goff didn't play great, but that's okay, right? I think, I like the Rams need to get back to establishing the run, and Cam Akers having 171 yards is huge. And so if they can keep establishing the run like that, play action's going to be open. Goff's going to have time. The Rams were a lot more deliberate and not as explosive as they used to be, in 2018 when they made the Super Bowl, but they have just as efficient of an offense in my mind. They just move the ball so well. And that was really demonstrated. They had like the 14 play, 9-minute, 90-yard touchdown drive. And it's like, that is what the Rams do.
Yeah, the third quarter just disappeared, right? They're
just going to jam it down your throat and kill the time. And so, I really like that about them, but it's a little concerning that they're not as explosive and can't get those deep shots anymore.
Yeah, I think that covers it. Let's get into our games. We've got a bunch of picks. I want to start high view. Let's start with what we think our games of the week are. So we got one game of the week, but for me, it was tough to pick because I thought there was really two games of the week. We got Chiefs, Dolphins, and Vikings, Buccaneers. Now,
are we not counting primetime games?
You can count them. You like Ravens, Browns?
Steelers, Bills.
You like Steelers, Bills?
Yeah, for sure. That's the best game of the week. I think that's a great. I mean, I think Ravens, Browns is a great game too, but I like the ones you said. Chiefs, Dolphins will be interesting. That's a great litmus test for the Dolphins to see, are they actually good, right? And I'm not saying they have to even come in here and beat the Chiefs, but if they can be competitive at home against the Chiefs, I think that this Dolphins team is really set up for success. They have like 4 first-round picks this year in this draft. I think they're pretty legit.
I think if you put Chiefs, Dolphins, and Steelers, Bills together, that's the game of the week, because if the Steelers lose and the Chiefs win, they're the 1 seed. Whereas if the Steelers go into Buffalo and win, that you feel a lot better about them holding on to that 1 seed. Vince Williams, their top linebacker, was making all the play calls. He's going to be out. He's on the COVID-19 list now. So you've got like all of the linebacking core out, the starting linebacking core at this point with Vince Williams gone. And then Spillane, the backup, is out with a knee injury. So like all the linebackers are gone except for TJ Watt. You've got TJ Watt and all the backups. But I mean, if they can go into Buffalo and win, then you can make a case that they could hold on the 1 seed. Whereas if the Dolphins, like you said, show up, that gives the Steelers some breathing room. But to me, the Vikings Bucks, because I don't know, I just can't get over, is Tom Brady there? Is he not? The Vikings are now in the 7th spot. I think to me, that is the game of the week. I like Vikings Bucks as the game of the week.
Yeah, I think
outside of the primetime slots.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think the big thing about that is this one has the most implications, right? I think the other games we're talking about, the Bills and the Steelers and the Chiefs are firmly in the playoffs. There's no question about that. The Dolphins most likely are in the playoffs, but it's just a matter of kind of seeding with all those teams. This game between the Vikings and the Bucks truly can come down to who makes it, because I think, if the Vikings win, they jump into that 7 spot and the Bucks can fall out of the playoffs. So, or they'll at least have the tiebreaker in that situation. So right. I think that's a huge, huge game. I think that is the most, maybe not the best game, but definitely the most important game in the game that I think I'm going to have the eyes on. I think that'll be a great game.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's get into it. Texans at Bears. This one was even when I looked at it. Is it showing even for you?
Houston -1.5.
Houston -1.5. Okay. Well, I got it when it was even, Connor, because I did my picks a couple of days ago. So
okay. So who do you like?
I like the Texans. I think Deshaun can play in some cold weather. It's supposed to be 35, partly cloudy. Not seeing anything crazy on wind, any of that. I'm going to go quarterback play on something like this.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think the Bears have just given up as a team. I think I don't know how high you would have to put the line. Now, the Texans, I think we keep forgetting the Texans are like the Falcons in that every game, I think the Texans are good and they're just not a good team. Like I always think they're so good. I'm like, oh my gosh, Deshaun Watson, Brandon Cooks, like you have all these guys, you have talent on that offense. And then even the defense, you look at it and you're like, okay, you have JJ Watt, like there's some players too on their defense, but there's bad. I mean, they're just bad, but the Bears are horrible. They've given up. The Texans actually want to win, I think. So I think I'm going to go with the Texans, but I mean, this game is maybe the biggest throwaway game of the weekend.
You think the Texans want to get Romeo Crennel another head coaching job?
No, not at all.
They just want to win.
Yeah. Well, because you also got to remember, they don't own their first round pick. So they're not at all incentivized to do poorly. And so I think that, and especially players are trying to win. And so ownership and management's not trying to lose because Crennel's trying to go get, whether he stays on as the defensive coordinator, or if he gets a job somewhere else, he's trying to stay in the league. So their team trying to win, the Bears have just given up. I'll take Texans.
Cowboys at Bengals. We got Cowboys by 3.5 now. That's getting up there.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be
the Bengals. I mean, last week they barely missed covering. Who were they playing last week? Were they playing the Dolphins?
That sounds right.
Yeah, they were playing the Dolphins. I think they just missed covering. I took them last week in my Raspberry White Claw week, going with all the underdogs. And
I'm surprised you haven't taken your victory lap yet because your underdogs went off last week.
They did. Where did I go? I went 9-4, right?
Yeah, against the spread. That's incredible.
Let's go. The underdogs went off, but you're saying the underdogs are going to go off this week.
I think so too, which means that they're not going to go off, but I think they are. I like them.
All right. Well, maybe my good luck will break even with your bad luck and we can just, go pull 500 or something.
Yeah, that works. I think Bengals. I mean, it's so
Andy Dalton returning to Cincinnati.
Yeah, I'll take him. I'll take the Cowboys to cover. I forgot about that. Yeah, I'll take him.
Okay, so you're on the favorite then.
Yeah, in this situation. But I like moving. I mean, again, I don't have much to say about this game. I don't know if you do, but
we can be done.
Yeah. Oh, one thing I'll say is, did you see that Chad Johnson used to call the Bengals coaches at 2 a.m?
Awesome. Say, I'm open. What did he say? He's just like, I'm open.
Hey, coach, I'm open. And then hang up. That is the best thing I've ever heard in my life. And the best part, too, is he was calling Hugh Jackson, which makes it even funnier that it was Hugh Jackson.
So good. I know. I wish AB, that sounds like the most AB thing because we were still pretty young when Chad was finishing up, but I love it.
Oh, totally. That's or like an Odell move or something like that. One of those loud receivers.
Well, Odell settled down too, and things got weird in Cleveland, and he's hurt. Who's gonna be the next diva?
Oh man,
because like DK, he's got the rings, he's got the hair.
He's quiet though. He doesn't say much.
Even Jalen Ramsey with the Rams has settled down on the other side of the ball.
That's not true at all. Jalen goes off on everybody 100%.
No, he goes off on the field, but he's not doing everything he was doing in Jacksonville. I mean, he wanted out, but
right. Oh yeah, no, he's quiet.
Who's going to be the personality? Yeah.
Let me think on it. I'll get you an answer. By the end of the show, I'll come up with someone. I'll think of every team as we go through it.
Speaking of quiet, Kyrie got fined $25,000 for not talking.
Kyrie's such an idiot.
And we were talking about this before the show. And I think this came up. You might have saw that this week when he said that he's excited Durant's the first like clutch player he's played with. Just no respect to LeBron. LeBron said he's heard about it. And then I was listening and the host was talking about how Kyrie, I didn't know this, he thinks the earth's flat.
Oh yeah.
All this stuff that's just crazy. And then he also doesn't believe LeBron's clutch and shows no respect to LeBron. So
Kyrie's just an it. Kyrie's crazy. I don't know what his deal is, but he's just like, he's so all over the map. And I don't know if it's like immaturity. He has this like, it seems so fake, but he has this whole like mindset of like, oh, I'm smarter than everybody else. Cause you saw his response to like, I don't talk to pawns or something like that. It's like, dude, shut up. Just go play basketball.
Yeah.
Like, have respect for media. They're doing their job. You do your job. Like they're not trying to be rude. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I think Kyrie is just, he's really good. He's the best. He's the best ball handler. He's maybe the most skilled player I've ever seen in my life. He's the best ball handler and best below the rim finisher of all time. And I don't even think that those two are debatable, but I don't know. I just think he's an idiot.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it's like the NBA now has too many divas, like James Harden right now, not showing up to practice. And then the NFL, like we were talking about the receivers, like where are they? Like it's both are becoming too much of what they are. Like the NFL is so disciplined, you can be cut tomorrow. You can just lose your salary. You're gone. And then the NBA, it's so much of a players league. It's almost empowering it too much. I think both need to take a little bit from each other.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah. Have you seen the Netflix series, the Coaches like Rules or something?
No, I've never heard of that.
Okay. Well, I need your help right now. So there was a manager on that show. He just wouldn't talk to the media. He's like the Chelsea manager. He's like the most famous manager in European soccer.
Is it Pep? And he's Man City's coach?
I don't think he's Man City's anymore. His name's like Mourinho or something.
Oh, Jose Mourinho? Yeah.
Yeah, he's nuts.
Is he at Man U right now?
Yeah, I don't know where he is right now, but he's hilarious. One time he got banned from the stadium and he hid out in like a laundry basket when the UEFA officials tried to find him in the locker room because they suspected he tried to sneak in.
Yeah, he's insane. Yeah, he's at Tottenham right now, but he's
the craziest manager ever.
He's insane. Yeah, Mourinho's and apparently, and obviously I'm gonna get corrected, but I think like nobody likes playing for him, but he's just like a good coach. He's like Jim Harbaugh. It's like he's just a crazy man, and he's a good coach, but he's like
super
never
cocky.
Yeah. Oh, totally. He's like
I'm the best ever, and
yeah. I mean, he's really good, but he
won Champions League, and then he just leaves the team to go to another team, which is something that's weird about soccer. And I love how they call it sacked instead of fired. You've been sacked.
Yep.
But he would always leave after he's won the cup to go to the next club. So it's pretty fascinating. But I just thought it was interesting because he hates the media, kind of like Kyrie. So.
Yeah, and I don't get, even just talking about that when in soccer. This is, by the way, the most all over the place podcast that we've ever had, which I love. But that's in healthy. Soccer,
no one wants to listen to the basics.
No. In soccer, though, when he does that, it's like, dude, he was at Chelsea. It's not like he was at some like third division club. He was at one of the best clubs in the world. Like, why do you need to go somewhere else? What do you have to accomplish at a different place? But I think it's like Jim Harbaugh that people just get sick of him after a little bit. All of his craziness, him being weird at the media, all that stuff just wears on people, and he needs to go somewhere else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he wears himself out. That's a good point.
All right,
for the show. No way. I'm not letting you go back to this. You got to explain your hottest take that we didn't get to hear earlier, which is that we never landed on the moon. You're with Kyrie on this.
100%. We never landed on the moon. We've never been to space. We've never landed on the moon.
Never been to space.
Well, what do you consider space?
Are you counting the International Space Station just right outside Earth?
That's not real.
What's your take on that?
It's not. No, that doesn't exist. That's like some studio or something. We've never been. No, International Space Station isn't real.
Okay, so then the moon.
We've never been there. The moon's there. It exists. I'm not saying the moon's fake, but no, we've never been to the moon. Never been to the moon. Never been to space. All the pictures of Earth from space are false. I'm not positive the Earth isn't flat. There's a lot of things I'm not really sure about.
Okay, so you're positive that the space station isn't real and we haven't been to the moon. You're iffy on if the Earth is flat.
Yeah, I got some questions. I don't know.
You need to take a boat trip with some guys. You and Kyrie.
Yeah,
let's do some reality TV.
I'm in. Let's
wear that beanie. It's going to be cold down there in the Arctic.
Let's go. When we do our Soul West, we might have to actually be going like south or something because the Earth is flat.
Yeah, sheesh. You'll probably have something to explain that away too. But I love it. I love it.
Yeah. Well,
we got to talk about the important things.
If we're talking north-south, that's just based on magnets. How do you prove that I'm going north? What if instead of at the North Pole, it's just the center of the Earth? So when I'm pointing everywhere, it's just pointing towards the middle.
Yeah. But the thing is, Connor, you got to understand on the other side of the spectrum, societies like all the fringes of the internet are convinced that like this is the year 2020. We've got like 3 weeks left to find out that there are aliens and the government's in contact with them.
Yeah. I mean, I think that there are aliens for sure.
So are you in with the crazy Israeli scientist that said the space guy who said that there's an underground base on Mars? We got people. I mean, if you don't think we've been to the moon, probably not. But what about the aliens? Would they contact the government, or would they just avoid us and just interact with random humans?
Well, I really want to be in on aliens and this Israeli space guy. So let's just say I'm hyped on any conspiracy theory. I want to get in on it. I'm excited about it. I like what this guy's saying. I think it makes a lot of sense. The problem is he keeps referencing that you need to read his book. And if you go try to find his book, he doesn't have a book. So he has kind of lost it. So I don't know of like, I want to believe him so bad, but don't keep telling me to read your book when you haven't written a book.
The one that everyone was saying was the least believable thing. He said the underground base on Mars. He said in contact with aliens, the U.S. and Israel are working with them. And everyone on Twitter was joking that the most believable part was that Trump was going to release it all. Yeah. But the intelligence of the U.S. and Israel talked him out of it. And everyone's like, no chance Trump could keep his mouth shut. He'd tweet it out.
That's a good point. But
so that Trump, in the book kind of make us doubt this guy. But
Trump created Space Force. It's because he probably heard it and he's like, oh shoot, we got to get something going here. And so that's his like subtle nod to the American people of like, hey guys, I'm telling you this for a reason.
It sounds like a movie. It's like Space Jams. It's like what? Space Force. But it
is a TV show. It's on Netflix.
We got 3 weeks. Let's do it.
All right, I'm in.
2020 aliens. All right, back to something a little less exciting. Chiefs at Dolphins. We said this is one of the games of the week. I like the Chiefs here.
I'm going to go with the Dolphins.
Disappointment last week against Denver. They'll bounce back.
I think the Chiefs at this point are just going to do enough to win, especially because they're going to the Saints next week. So I don't think they're trying to blow out the Dolphins right now. I think the Chiefs are going to they're going to win. I think absolutely they're going to win, but I think that Dolphins keep it close. And even if that close, 7.5, I think that half point might be important because I think I could see the Dolphins scoring a garbage time touchdown to get it within one score. But yeah, I mean, I think
there's
Chiefs
enough
win,
there though that if Tua's on not as good game, it's a blowout. Whether the Chiefs are motivated or not, it just becomes a blowout if Tua has one of his bad games, like he did against Denver. And I mean, the Chiefs just had a little bit of a letdown against Denver, but there's totally a chance that Tua could not be on his game and it's a blowout. And I think the Chiefs are motivated, right? They just have the tiebreaker between them and Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's kind of fallen apart and they can get the 1 seed and there's only one bye. They want that bye.
Yeah, no, I agree. And that's why I think the Chiefs are going to win. I think the Chiefs have realized that they're so good that they can just in a quarter decide they want to win and win the game in a quarter. So I think they're just trying to hang out and they're going to win and do well or whatever. And then if all of a sudden they're only up by like 3 at halftime, they're going to come out and score 28 points in the third quarter. And like that's what the Chiefs have. And so I could see them just being up 10 the whole game. And then the Dolphins score a garbage time touchdown or something to cover. I think they're going to win. And I don't think it's one of those you watch the Chiefs play. And even if they're losing, even in that Broncos game, when it was like close and a little back and forth and all that stuff, you're never sitting there being like, ooh, this might happen to the Chiefs. Whereas like I did feel watching that Steelers game, even early on, it was like, oh shoot, Washington might do this. As opposed to, you watch the Chiefs and you're like, yeah, whatever, they'll figure it out. Like no problem.
Yeah, I hate that as a Steelers fan. Everyone's been saying that. I hate it. Everyone's like, Baltimore's so good and Baltimore keeps losing. Like, they have a great roster and they strength of schedule this and just everyone's just shitting on the Steelers. It's the worst. I hate it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Baltimore's good either. I think the Browns are the best team in the division, but
we'll get there. Monday night game.
We'll save that. But yeah.
Listen, Chiefs, Dolphins. I put 3 question marks on my list. I thought this was one of the 3 hardest games to pick this week. I'm going to go Chiefs, but I think the Dolphins makes a lot of sense. The Cardinals and Giants. This is fun. Giants are fun. I like the defense.
Giants. Oh yeah,
they're
defense
fun to watch.
Good.
I liked it. I liked the game last week against Seattle. That was fun.
Totally. Yeah. No, I agree. And they're coming together. The only thing, the question mark here is Daniel Jones is questionable to play. I think they got away with it with Colt McCoy last week. I don't think that magic still will live against the Cardinals, but I think if Daniel Jones plays, I think they win outright. I think if Colt McCoy plays, I think it'll be a close game.
Yeah, 55 and rainy though. I think they could sneak it with Colt McCoy too. Have we seen Kyler in any interesting conditions this year? I didn't watch him last year. I was so off the Cardinals last year with all the turnovers, but
yeah, I don't think we have. Yeah, it'll be interesting, and I think to see how that goes. There,
Vikings Bucks. This is the one I'm excited about.
Vikings.
Give me those Vikings. 6.5. This is emotional, but it's also, I think, reasonable. But have the Vikings won 5 in a row, or did they lose one in there?
No, they've won. I'm pulling it up right now. They lost one. They lost to the Cowboys. And that's the thing, though. They barely beat the Jaguars. They barely beat the Panthers. They lose to the Cowboys, barely beat the Bears, and then beat the Lions. But then they also beat the Packers. So I have zero idea what's going on with these Vikings, but I think that I like them to win outright. I think the Bucks are imploding. However, the only thing to think about is that the Bucks are coming off a bye and they might have figured out some of the issues they've been having. So I think this is going to be a really good game, but I think the Vikings win and win outright, or they cover.
That's
and they
the tricky thing is when the Bucks came off their mini bye, they just blew through Carolina, which is another middling team that kind of reminds you of the Vikings.
Mm-hmm.
And that was on the road at Carolina, and they just kind of blew through them. Ronald Jones had the big touchdown. Tough.
The thing that'll be interesting is the Vikings have a really good run offense in Dalvin Cook. And the Bucks have the best run defense I can remember in recent memory. And so it'll be really interesting to see that kind of strength on strength. But then can they get Justin Jefferson the ball enough times? I mean, he's electric. And so if they can get the ball into his hands, I think they have a good chance. But it'll just be interesting to see kind of the play calling and how Kirk Cousins plays in this game.
It's not prime time. So Give me some Kirk. Here we go.
Yep. I agree.
Broncos at the Panthers. I'm showing Panthers -3. Is that what you're seeing?
Yep.
Give me the Panthers.
I like the Broncos.
They're so inconsistent. What can you like about the Broncos? I mean, they showed up last week against Kansas City.
Raspberry White Claw. I think they have a good defense. I think that Vic Fangio can figure out ways to beat teams with his defense. And I think that the Panthers, Teddy Bridgewater's good. McCaffrey's not playing. And I don't think the Panthers are that good either. So I don't.
Yeah, but Curtis Samuel's back. Didn't you hear?
Okay.
I'm just kidding.
I mean,
DJ Moore's out, but Curtis Samuel's in. So you're going to have 2 of the 3 receivers. I'm just kidding.
That's going to be a horrible game.
McCaffrey matters way more.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be a horrible game. I'll take the Broncos to cover, but they'll probably win too, but I have no idea. That game's crazy.
Yeah. And so you're not stealing the Raspberry White Claw line, but you're saying dogs are barking this week. Dogs are barking.
The dogs are barking. I like the underdogs a lot.
Titans at Jags. This is another one I questioned. This is one of the trickiest ones of the week at 7.5. Just got blown out by the Browns. I'm taking Tennessee, but I don't like it.
I'm taking the Jags. I'm taking the Jags. I think
dogs are barking.
Hey, the dogs are barking. I think again. We say
1-11, Connor. What are they against the spread? Do you have that?
I don't know. Probably not good. I don't know. Probably not good. But here's the deal. We've said it all season. The Titans can't get pressure on a quarterback, and that still remains true. It keeps showing up every single week. I think Mike Glennon is not a mobile quarterback, as we all know. He's just going to stand there and throw the ball. And he's still not great, even when he does just stand there and throw it. But I think against a team where he doesn't have to move, he's not going to have to be, running outside of the pocket. I think he can do stuff, especially I think DJ Chark is actually really good. I think Keelan Cole's solid. So, and Laviska Shenault is pretty good. So I kind of like the Jags, and I think the Titans are starting to falter and not be that good anymore. So I'm going to go with the Jags to cover.
Yeah. I mean, they had a huge week. They beat Baltimore, and then they get blown out by Cleveland. Oh, they blew out the Colts too. So they had 2 good weeks, and then they get blown out. So we'll see here. I'm starting to realize, Connor, all my picks are teams that I want to win. I'm so biased.
I do that too. It's okay.
Colts at Raiders. I picked the Raiders. Do I necessarily actually think the Raiders are going to win? No, but I want the Raiders to win. I want the Raiders in the playoffs. I told you I want the Raiders to be in the wild card spot. And you said you're cool with that because you're cool with them losing, and that's more pain for Raiders fans, and you hate the Raiders.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I'll stand by that statement. I think the Raiders are fun, right? I mean, I think they shouldn't have won that game last week.
Waller last week.
He's an animal. He's an animal. But again, they should have lost to the Jets. So you can, whatever you want to say about the Raiders, they literally, if any other
season over.
If I was the defensive coordinator for the Jets, they win that game. So I think that, I don't think
Greg Williams, man. Greg Williams.
That's what he does, though.
The Saints scandal, then you got the Max splits and the Jets.
That's what he does. He's done it before, though. He's done it before. He's just that's all he does. So he's just crazy. He brings the heat, but I don't know.
You need a Greg Williams in your life?
No,
you need someone to just tell you to blitz and be more aggressive on everything, or do you need someone to tell you to simmer down and drop into that cover 3? Simmer. Drop into coverage.
Teo, I got you for the Stoke. I don't need that from anybody else.
All right.
I'll take the Raiders because the dogs are barking. But you also always got to be a little bit concerned about a team that's a home underdog, especially a team in the Raiders that aren't bad and the Colts aren't necessarily good. I kind of like the Raiders in this spot. Yeah,
it could be a lot of Nyheim Hines from Phillip Rivers. A lot of passes out of the backfield to backs. We'll see how exciting this one is. Although T.Y. showed up last week for the Colts.
Yeah, that's true.
Exciting. Yeah, listen, Jets at Seahawks. Getting all these teams from the East Coast, like you said, the NFC East, AFC East, NFC, all the West and the East are playing each other this year, which I'm surprised they didn't change that. Like in the league meetings, I guess flying on an airplane with your team doesn't really matter how long it is, but with COVID, it just feels a bit weird.
Yeah, and they also, they set schedules out years in advance, so that's something that you can't really adjust or mess with. I'm taking the Jets in this week to cover. I think that the Seahawks are so bad right now. I don't understand what's going on. They've looked
13.5. We got to say that too to the audience.
Yeah, 13.5.
Nuts.
I just think the Jets will cover. I absolutely do not think they're going to win. No chance do I think they win, but I think that they can lose by 10, by 11. I think that that's possible. So, yeah, I mean, I guess I'm going to take the Jets, but this also seems like, and I think this is I think the Jets are going to cover, but I could also see this being a get-right game for the Seahawks where they win by 35, where they just go out and win 45 or 42-7. I don't think that's going to happen, but I could see if they were going to have that game to get them back on track, this is the game to do that.
Yeah. So I'm coming back to it because I mentioned DK Metcalf. He's got the diva look on the outside, but he's quiet on the inside. Have you come up with the next diva receiver yet?
No, I don't know.
I love Cheetah. He does the backflips in the end zone, but again, he's quiet off the field. Cheetah'd be cool, but it'd have to be the CTE play with what happened to Antonio Brown, right? Like something I have to knock Cheetah into craziness. Cause right now he's kind of like AB earlier in his career. Like he doesn't say anything off the field or do no Facebook lives, nothing.
Yeah. DeAndre Hopkins. The problem is, a lot of these guys.
Yeah, DeAndre could lose it because he's getting like 2 targets a game.
Yeah, and
it could get dark in the desert.
Totally. And so that's the thing, though, is like guys who does it off the field. Not many. I'm looking through and I don't really see anybody who's crazy off the field. Some of these guys, like DeAndre Hopkins, is crazy on the field. He talks as much trash as anybody in the league. I saw a video of him. A coach comes up to him and is like, hey, a coach on the other team comes up to him in pregame and goes, hey, man, you're probably the best receiver in the league right now. Like trying to be nice to him. And Hopkins just looks at him and goes, I know. Like, yeah, I know. And you're like, what? Like, you're insane. So
pulling a Mourinho.
Yeah. So I don't know any guys that talk off the field, but yeah, I think the Jets will cover that game. I don't know how. I have no idea how it's going to happen. But again, the Seahawks defense is so bad. So maybe if the Jets, Sam Darnold looks good, I have no idea. I don't know what's going to happen.
Sam Darnold looking good, man. He hasn't looked good since that 70-yard run with the fake slide.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
Was sick. That was sick.
Yeah.
That's some Thursday night football for you. Packers at Lions, maybe a candidate, Devontae Adams, but he has Aaron Rodgers, so he doesn't have to go diva. I like the Packers here.
I do too. Lions are horrible. I'm going to stay by that. They're really bad.
-9. Give me the Pack.
Yeah, I'll take them. And they already had, they lost Patricia and they already had their one game playing hard for their interim coach. I think that this is the game where they also beat the Bears last week. So the Lions are coming off a big win for them. And I could see the Packers coming in and winning by 100. So I think Packers.
What's crazy is 2 days ago, you could get this at 7.5 and now it's at 9. We got to get our picks in earlier, Connor.
I know. But I always am hesitant because you don't know who's going to be in or out. You don't know what's going to happen. And also, if I liked the Lions in this situation, it's nice to wait. So it kind of just depends. You don't know where the public money is going to go. And so it's sometimes nice to, see where that's going.
Yeah, 100%. That's in a dome, which brings up to me. How many more teams do you think that Roger Goodell's going to let build domes or indoor stadiums? Because football historically has always been a sport where you got to respect the weather. You got to have some weather. Like you don't want Kansas City in 10, 15 years building a dome, right?
Yeah, I actually like the domes, but I do think it's fun every once in a while to get good snow football. So I think as long as, the really good stadiums don't do that, Lambeau will never go away. The Chiefs and Broncos need to keep we need to keep those outdoors. But, if we're talking about like the Jets, if they ever, obviously they just got a new stadium, but if the Jets got a dome, like, I don't care, like whatever,
That helps with those two NFC East teams and the Eagles. We get Saints at Eagles this week. It's going to be good weather, though. They're getting a little bit of a warm spurt. It's supposed to be like 60-ish, partly cloudy, maybe some rain. I wanted to see Taysom Hill in the weather, and I wanted to see Jalen Hurts in the weather. But if it's good weather, I also like that because I want to see both these guys out there, see if they can throw the football. There's talk Taysom Hill could take over the job. Is Drew Brees getting this back? Oh.
Yeah, Drew Brees is getting it. As long as Drew Brees is there, he's a starting quarterback. He's like your franchise savior. He's not just like...
He's not Alex Smith with Colin Kaepernick.
Totally. And he's not like either like Phillip Rivers with the Colts, right? Phillip Rivers came in as this veteran. And then if he was really horrible, you could go with Jacoby Brissett or something else. You're not going to do that with, Drew Brees, who is literally the franchise savior. You're not going to do that to him. Right. So if they, and the thing is, if they really wanted to go the Taysom Hill route, they would have told Drew Brees retire, like don't come back this season. He said he was planning to retire and then somehow was talked out of it or something. But I don't think, I think he's retiring at the end of the season, but I don't think that they're ever going to replace him unless though, the only other thing is that he's hurt because they don't want him to be the quarterback and they don't want him to say that he's hurt. You know what I mean?
But you don't do that to a guy who's won the Super Bowl for your franchise, who you waited to see if you could talk him back, waited on him to make the decision rather than Phillip Rivers with Los Angeles saying, hey, goodbye. You're making pretty clear to him, whereas they waited and were patient with Drew Brees. So I don't see that, oh, he's hurt, quote unquote, thing going on there. So listen, it's -7, New Orleans. This was one of the toughest ones for me. I'm taking the Saints.
Mm-hmm.
Eagles are falling apart. They're scrappy at times, but they're just pieces at this point.
Yeah, I mean, the Eagles are just not a good team. And I think the Saints have the hottest defense in football. And that's saying a lot because I think the Rams have the hottest defense in football. But the Saints are on one right now. And they're the scariest team. Them and the Chiefs are the two scariest teams in the NFL right now. And so I think the Saints win. I think they roll. I think they're feeling themselves. And so
we found our diva. We finally got to a team.
Mike Thomas.
Michael Thomas. But he's he's the lamest diva possible.
That's true. But can't
because
guard Mike.
He has real problems. Like, I guess he punched someone in practice, got suspended a game, but no one follows him on social media. He doesn't have like a big personality like AB or Ocho Cinco or T.O.
Right.
So no one's following him because he's super interesting. It's just like, oh, he did this crazy stuff.
Well, and the other thing that's hard with him is he's not a flashy receiver. He's not going out there catching, he just catches 17 balls a day across the middle. He could be
super flashy. It's he's been with Drew Brees late in his career.
That's
fair.
Give
him like Josh Allen, I think he could be super flashy.
That's fair, but I think he's just a great route runner, understands space, understands how to get open. Whereas like you look at AB and he's doing these crazy routes. He's also running, Tyreek Hill's getting 80-yard touchdown passes every game. Like those are guys that are fun to watch and do crazy stuff.
Right.
Like Thomas is just somehow always open. Yeah, he's just always open 15 yards downfield.
Yeah, and those exciting guys, to your point, that was T.O., that was Ocho Cinco. Like it lends itself to you being the diva, and it lends into your marketability and people caring about you. Everyone's like, oh, Michael Thomas got suspended even though he's better by the team. Oh, okay.
Right.
Unless you have one in your fantasy. Falcons at Chargers. Falcons -3. Give me the away teams. For me, it's the away teams are barking this week, not the dogs. Give me the Falcons.
I don't know what to do with the Chargers anymore. I think I might like the Falcons in this situation too. I think the Chargers are a good team. I don't know how they keep like not winning games and then how they just got rolled by the Patriots last week. So I think kind of the Chargers, sometimes you get to the point in the season where a decent team loses a ton of games they should have won and the team just kind of gives up. And I think that's where the Chargers are at right now.
Yeah, it's collapsing. It's over.
Yeah. So I'll go with the Falcons with you. It's only 3 points. I like the Falcons.
That's how I feel about the Bears, and that's how you feel about the Bears.
Yeah.
Unless you don't want to call them decent.
Well, no, I mean, the Bears started out 5-1, so they have to be some level of okay. And the Bears have a really good defense. So if they had a decent offense, they'd be really good. But yeah, no, I agree with that.
Washington at the Niners, 2-5-7. Some of these are painful. We're running through them. Then we can get to Ravens, Browns, but give me the Niners. I'm taking 10 away teams, but I'm taking the Niners on the road in Arizona in the desert at home. I want to count that as an away too. We can just call it a neutral. But is it bad that I'm taking 10 real away teams this week? Is that too much?
No, I don't think that's bad. I think you're also, listen, coming off Raspberry White Claw week, you can do whatever you want right now.
I'm confident.
Go with it. Yeah, I feel good about that. Washington's good, man. I don't know. I think Washington's really good. So I don't know. I think Washington's pretty solid.
Really good, man. Really good, man.
Their defense is.
Did you watch the Steelers game? I know you're so happy because you can say this is the most overrated team, their defense team of all time, and you got that. You got Washington winning. Oh, the Steelers dropped so many passes.
Yeah, that's fine, but
there wasn't really any pass rush. Also the Steelers, it's a little weird how obsessed they are with not letting Ben get sacked. It's kind of scary. Like, let's pass it 1 second after he gets out. All these 1-yard routes, but I didn't think Washington's defense was outstanding. You did?
I think I just think they're really good. I think that
they're solid.
You also just don't know what you're going to get.
The Niners are really solid too.
Yeah, you just don't know which Niners you're going to get, right? Because the Niners have had weeks where they look really good.
Give me the Rams Niners. Give me when they play the Rams.
Game over. Niners by 1,000,000. Yeah, it's over. But that's what I'm saying though. When the Rams play the Niners look incredible. But then some other against the Dolphins, they looked horrible. So it's kind of just like what Niners team shows up. And depending on that team is where it goes. But I think in this situation, I'm going to go with Washington. I'm also riding the hot hand. But yeah, I think Washington. I'll go with Washington.
My biggest thing with Washington is that I kind of like the Washington football team thing. I kind of like the colors. I kind of like the W. I kind of maybe just leave it.
Yeah, I like it. I'd be okay with that. I think the last point I'd make on them is that this is the ultimate letdown game, that they're feeling themselves after beating the Steelers, and then now they just come out and lay a stinker against the Niners.
Whereas the Giants got to show up. They're playing the Cardinals.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I agree.
Both those teams have talent, though. It's just the Niners' record is what the stinker is. I don't think the Niners are that much worse than.
Well, they just have a ton of injuries, too. Their whole defensive line is hurt. I think Nick Mullins being their quarterback, he's not great. So I'll give the Niners a pass, but man, I think that, these are not going to be easy games against teams that should be easy to beat.
So we've got the AFC North now. 3 of the AFC North teams. Steelers at Bills. I am showing the Bills by 2.5. Is that what we got?
I see 3.
3. Give me the Steelers. Doesn't make sense. Yeah. You should take the Bills. You should take the points. You should take that the defense is so hurt. They've got TJ Watt and no other starting linebackers. Doesn't make sense, but yeah, give me the Steelers. I can't say anything else.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, listen, the Steelers...
You would take the Bills, right?
Yeah,
Three's not a lot.
No.
The Steelers have looked awful, and they're traveling, and the Bills are legit.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely am going to take the Bills. I think they're pretty good. I think that Josh Allen's playing incredible. Again, I think this is one of those games, kind of like we just talked about with the Niners. It's what Josh Allen shows up, because he's played really well this season, but he's also had a few games where he's looked horrible. So if he can be solid,
can see this. Yeah, can you see who the leading rusher is right now in this game?
James Conner, who's been out for like half the season.
And both these teams are legit teams that cannot rush the ball. I mean, both of the Buffalo backs haven't looked good. James Conner hasn't looked great. Benny Snell is just.
Oh yeah, I mean I like Benny Snell in college, but is the Steelers defense going to be able to generate pressure without Bud Dupree?
I think so, because they got Alu back. They have this guy Bugs who's showed up. He was the one who made the big tackle on Baltimore when they were going forward on 4th down in the second game when they tried to QB sneak it with Lamar. Who else did they get back? The guy at Notre Dame. Really, really good. So the D line is a lot better than you think. Everyone's just heard of Cameron Hayward, but all the other guys are super solid. So I think, they'll be fine.
Okay, because I think that'll come down.
TJ Watt, who's a defensive player of the year contender, and then the D line's really good. So everyone talks about the linebackers. The defense is still pretty rock solid, although I don't know how someone who actually played football would know how to exploit those linebackers, but I'd see it more in the passing game coverage than actually in the rush pressure.
Yeah, I agree. I think, if it's going to be a good game. I think that these are teams that their strengths match up well and their weaknesses match up well. I think it'll be fun to watch. I'm excited. That's a good Sunday night game that, I'll be excited to stay tuned for. I'm going to go with the Bills +3 or -3 at home, playing well. Plus, I think, get a chance to kind of spoil the Steelers season a little bit by getting them, to not get the bye. I'm going to go with the Bills.
Yeah, in the player I was talking about on the D-line was Stephon Tuitt. Notre Dame, he's borderline Pro Bowl every year. Cool. So Ravens, Browns. Give me the Browns. Browns are going to win this outright. Browns are going to make a play on the Steelers here. We're going to have week 17. If the Steelers lose, they could win the division still. Ravens get knocked out of the wild card spot. I love that. I love that as a Steelers fan. You get the Ravens knocked out of the wild card spot. Perfect. 7-6. They're not going to make it unless they win out. Browns at 10-3. Steelers at 11-2. 1 game back of the Steelers. You got week 17.
And the Browns, the best running game. I mean, those are the 2 best run teams in the NFL, but one of the best running teams in the NFL, the Browns, could just run all over a linebacker-less Steelers team.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I think, first of all, I thought the Browns were going to win. I think the Browns, this is going to be the big statement win because they haven't been able to beat the Steelers or the Ravens, right? They've looked good. They've had wins, but they haven't been able to beat those guys. Right. And so I think that, big win against the Ravens would be huge. And then I'm selfishly hoping for, like you're saying, a matchup in week 17 to potentially win the division. I don't know how those tiebreakers work, but if the tiebreaker, although I actually think the Steelers have the tiebreaker.
Right.
Only because the Steelers have a better in-division record because the Browns, their 3 losses are against the Ravens and the Steelers, right?
Yeah.
Oh, no, they have one. Who's their other loss to? I'll look. But yeah. So, but anyways, regardless of all of that, I think that it could be, the Raiders. Yeah, I just think that it's going to be a good game too. I think it's going to be a really low scoring game, but I also thought that in the Browns Titans last week. I said my best play of the week was the under in that game. And that game went over in like the third quarter. So this is what I'm saying. I'm the worst gambler of all time, but I like the Browns to run all over the Ravens. I think the Ravens I think their spirit is broken right now and they can't beat good teams. So I'm going to go with the Browns.
I think so too. Unless you see some like miraculous improvement from Lamar in the passing game, I like the Browns as well. And I think the same thing with the spirit broken. They don't feel like they can win a Super Bowl. They have so much talent and explosiveness, but if you have that huge hole, which to me is bigger than like the Steelers or Bills not being able to run the ball, is if you don't feel confident in your quarterback throwing the ball, not going to work.
Yeah, and part of that, I will give credit, Lamar Jackson, it's not all his fault. He has no good receivers on his team. But I just think, you got to be able to feel comfortable of your quarterback throwing the ball. And I think that's why you look at the Ravens, and it's a team that never can come back from, when have you ever seen them come back from down 10 points or down, 14 points or whatever? They never can. They get up when they do well and when they look good. They get up early and then they run the ball down your throat the entire game. And if they can do that, they're the best team in the league, right? Because they have the best run game. They have a really good defense and a really dangerous quarterback, not necessarily a great quarterback, but a really dangerous one. And so they need to be in a good situation for them to be really good. But this seems like a game where I don't see them, being super dangerous the whole time.
Yeah, I agree. Well, it's going to be a good week. Maybe the dogs will bark. Maybe they won't. We had the raspberry white claw. Now we've got the dogs barking. We'll see. Hope you enjoyed this one, everyone, and go spit some fire and win your picks.
Cool. See you guys.